Question number 10, Darroch Ball.
To the Prime Minister. Does he have confidence in all his ministers?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, yes.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
How can he have confidence in his ministers when, in this term so far alone, there have been more than 100 answers to written questions from just MSD and HNZ ministers stating they do not centrally collate the data asked for, when in those cases responsible ministerial management would clearly be impossible without doing so?
Oh, that's a stupid question.
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, the ministers answer the questions asked. In my experience, the quality of those questions is variable. Although I must say the New Zealand First questions are much better than the Labor Party questions.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question. Order. Order. Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
How can he have confidence in the Minister responsible for Housing New Zealand when his reply to written questions revealed, for example, that Housing New Zealand does not centrally collate data on areas such as the number of state homes needing insulation or the number of police checks requested by Housing New Zealand?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister maintains his confidence in the Minister in charge of Housing New Zealand, which is me. I'm not surprised that there's some things the members asked from Housing New Zealand they don't have. They've been a long-standing government monopoly who didn't really have to do anything in particular that well. And as we've found, as we've come to sell some of those state houses to other buyers, they are slightly surprised how little the government knows about the state of its own assets.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
How can he have confidence in the Minister for Social Housing when in her reply to multiple written questions revealed, for example, that Housing New Zealand does not centrally record data on areas such as the availability of emergency housing or how many expensive tests have been conducted on state houses?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, the member could address his question to the Minister for Social Housing. But emergency housing is a much broader issue than the obligation of Housing New Zealand these days. MSD fundamentally have responsibility for it, and they are, for the first time in decades, doing a comprehensive discussion with all the players in emergency housing with a view to lifting performance sharply in dealing with those with the most serious housing need.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
How can he have confidence in the Minister for Social Development when her reply to multiple written questions revealed, for example, that MSD does not centrally record data on areas such as WINS office closures, number of fraud investigations on employment programs, outcomes of employment programs, back payments made to beneficiaries, the amount of success fees paid to providers, or even the number of beneficiaries securing employment facilitated by WINS?
The Honourable Bill English on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, the Minister of Social Development is doing an excellent job of filling the gaps, some of which the member has accurately pointed to. And that is, when government agencies provide a service, we now expect them to know who they provided that service to and what impact it had on the life of the recipient of the service. Now, I have to say that's still regarded as a relatively novel concept in public services, but the Minister of Social Development and of Social Housing are doing an excellent job of filling in these long-standing gaps.
Point of order, sir.
Order. Point of order, Darroch Ball.
I seek leave to table a document prepared by the Library which lists just a few or a small portion of those questions that are answered with "we do not centrally collate that data."
Order. Order. All written questions, the answers are then published if members want them.
Point of order, sir. Point of order.
Point of order, Darroch Ball.
This is a document that's collated by the Library. It is not those answers. It's
Order.
not those direct answers
Order.
from those written...
Member, I'll pointed out to the House on numerous occasions, the point of tabling a document is to give further information to members. It's not about making a political order. Darroch Paul has a very bad habit when anybody's giving an answer to the member, and now when I'm on my feet, of continuing to interject. The point of putting leave is to further inform members. If members want to go and look up that information, it is fully published and available. Question number 11.